Hi lovelies, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Raina Bello, and if you are coming across this face for the first time, hola, it's so good to have you on here. Whew, today has been quite exhausting because I've been down with malaria, and then I've just been like, I've just really been through it this week. I told myself that, you know what, for a second I was like, I'm not sure I really want to do this week, but I just told myself that, I got this, and then I'm in my chair. So today I'm going to be talking about us girls. I'm going to be talking about being the girl that doesn't settle for crumbs. Own your own table. Like, be the girl that doesn't settle for crumbs. Own the entire freaking table. Own the table. And I was just going through Instagram. I was going through Instagram, and I came across this page that just like post quotes that like uplift girls, and then I saw that particular phrase there that says a girl that knows her worth will not settle for crumbs, or something of the sort. I can't remember exactly how it was phrased right now, but it just deeply resonated to me that it's a lot easier for you, and it makes your life a whole lot better when you own your own stuff, when you're not sitting around and just looking at people or looking up to people to feed you, or for you to feed off of them, because honestly that would just come with endless disrespect. There is no way that you are just going to go through life. You just want to go through life feeding off of people. You have to understand that if you choose to feed off of people's table, you're not getting the main course. You're just, you're getting the leftovers. You're getting, okay, you can have this. That's what you're getting. You're getting you do with this. You're not getting the main course. Like, I'm focusing on girls in general, like just ladies. There's this question that's often asked by men. They're like, what do you bring to the table? And in my mind, I'm like, honestly, what do we bring to the table? With everything that a woman embodies, you ask a woman, what does she bring to the table? When the entire table in the first place, like your entire being as a man, you came out of a woman, and you're asking, what does a woman bring to the table? I can't make any sense out of that entire conversation. I'm not saying, okay, like there aren't girls that literally just want to live off of, but that's the whole point of this conversation, where I'm saying, as much as it has become a thing now where, girls find it, some girls, that's just the lifestyle that they term or assume as soft life, when there's some man somewhere and they believe that, oh, okay, this person pays my bills, blah blah blah, and they do whatever. I'm not going into that explicitly, but my point is, I've heard of a lot of funny things when it comes to girls that live this particular type of lifestyle. I've heard of crazy, demeaning things. I remember there was one time that, there was something called potty potter that people were talking about, that black girls would go to certain countries to do, and the most condescending, the most demeaning, the most horrid things would be done to them there. And then eventually they pay them some amount of money that to them they believe covers for all of that degradation that they have had to, or that horror that they have had to go through. And then, we've heard of stories where they talk about, girls having to, do things with animals. And, when I hear all these things, I'm like, as much as contentment comes to play, I also think of owning your own, like never giving up, just owning your own. I understand that most of the girls that you would see that I have ventured or have had to, pick this lifestyle, maybe they were once one of those people that said at a point in life that they would never be in that situation, like it would never be them, can never be them. That saying, people say never say never, but like eventually life deals you certain and you're like, wow, before you know it, it's crazy to think that certain situations will have you doing. But nonetheless, I've come to realize that it still boils down to your decision as a lady. It boils down to your decision as a girl, because I've done the 9 to 5. I've done being an entrepreneur, and then I totally understand. I feel like I have a certain level of experience with from both worlds. I can I have a thing or two to say. I'm not saying that if you're working in 9 to 5, but you still won't have maybe men want to throw certain advances and throw their money at you and want to lure you to do certain things. But I'm just saying that if you know your worth, I remember one time I was in school, and then I started importing clothes. The brand Pretty Little Thing was pretty new then, and then I was importing clothes, and I was seeing a lot of money, and I just felt at the time, I realized that I really did not care what a brother had. I was not impressed by anything because I had my own. And that's my point exactly. Having your own as a lady, you understand, being financially independent. I can't remember if it was Maya Angelou that was speaking now. I can't remember, or if it was Mabukumi Awashika. I can't remember which one of them, because I listen to most of these amazing women. I listen to them to fill my mind with the right and positive line of thought. So I can't remember which one of them said it, or if it was some other person that I listened to. And she said it that as a woman, I think she said, as a lady, you have to have something going on for you. No matter what it is, in the least, you have to have something going on for you. I was speaking to my sister earlier this morning, and she was telling me about a friend of ours that, she came to Lagos, and then, things were tough, and she started to sell moi moi. She started to sell moi moi in church, and then she was delivering to certain eateries, and from petty money here and there, she made 50,000 here, made 30,000 here, made 80,000 here. She was able to put together money, get a place for herself in a very, very nice environment, and she was able to build a niche that even when the company where she was working at closed off, she still had something to fall back on. So I'm just saying there's this self-worth that comes from owning your own thing, from having your own. It's just even breaking it down to the normal, say your neighbors, imagine if you have to borrow something, and when you own it, you can want to borrow something from me now, and you're like, okay, Rena, please borrow me this your book, and I can tell you, please, let my book must not tear. I'll give you certain conditions. I'll give you, in fact, you know what, let me give you this one, hey, my book must not tear, and it must not get rumpled. I don't want the tips folding and everything, and you'll be like, okay, madam, no vex. But imagine if it's your own, you don't have anybody dictating to you how you want to use that thing. There's just a lot of sense of self-worthiness that comes with owning your own thing as a lady, whether you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to work 9 to 5. And another thing, I've come to realize that, so many girls have made that mistake of just abruptly quitting their 9 to 5 because they're like, this person spoke to me anyhow, this person did this anyhow. Being jobless, I can tell you for free, is one of the worst things that can ever happen to you, especially as a girl. Because I don't know how to say this. There's this thing they say in Yoruba. They'll say "Oma filo kulo loe," and I think in English that would mean the lamest of things, the dirtiest of things, the nastiest of things would be thrown on your plate, because you have now put yourself at the mercies of people because you have not given yourself the opportunity, no matter how tough it is, no matter how little it is, to own something that you can call your own. So as a lady, I'm going to keep on emphasizing on that, no matter how little it is. If you're a 9 to 5er and things are tough, and you feel like, okay, you can't do this anymore, you would not sit to be spoken to in a certain manner, except you come from money, or you have maybe a partner that takes care of you. Even at that, even having a partner that takes care of you, I feel like men have this mentality of, they do not want a liability. They like when a woman is not she's not totally, they like when a woman has something to her that interests them. men lose interest real quick. So as a lady, you have to just have something. You have to have something in you that that exposes the creative part of you to the world, and people can see that this is what you do. I ran into a friend, like, was it last week? I can't remember now. I ran into a friend, and then it was like, minute is someone was like, hustler, because I'm posting shortlet apartments. I am working on my fashion line. I am doing my YouTube thing. I am advertising travel agencies and ticketing. I just have my head in a whole lot of stuff, like, okay, I do this, I do that. I put myself out there for like graphic designing jobs and all that, and I just try my possible best, because I've come to realize that what you own is what it, to a large extent, it actually defines you. It goes a long way to determine how people will portray you out there, what you have made for yourself, the power that you carry. It goes a long way, to be able to be that girl that can say, you know what, I got this, I can take care of myself. It just saves you a whole lot of insult, it saves you a whole lot of disrespect. So back to the point I was talking about, 9 to 5 hours. If you feel like you're working in a certain environment where there are certain things that do not sit right with you, before you make the decision to like just hop out into the unknown, it'd be nice to draw out a plan. Okay, in the next 6 months, I want to quit this job because I do not appreciate the way that things work around here. Then maybe you could gather money together. I know there's piggy vest, there are all of these saving apps that you could save up money. And Balogun is free for all, and aside from Balogun, there are other big markets, like thrifting. I think if you go to Yaba market, there's a lot of wholesalers for thrift clothing, where you could start certain businesses, or like selling household appliances. I know a friend that sells all these phone stand, cutie things, bathroom aesthetics, and all these beautiful things. You could start something from there. Phone accessories. Then you can now say, okay, you've saved money, okay, I want to use the money to do this, and then you can fall back to something. I need to understand that even if you're going to now move, you want to transition from like the 9 to 5 to an entrepreneur, I would advise that you do not just leave and start from the scratch with your entrepreneurship job. It's just my own opinion, I mean, you could do otherwise and it still works for you. But I would advise that while you still have your job, you start, because one of the best places to actually meet people, where you get, exposed to a large number of people, is at your workplace. I mean, if, it's like it's not like a one-man business where it's just, 2-3 people that are working like a normal office. You meet people while you're at work. Okay, it's jewelry that you sell, like earrings. There are these bold earrings and rings, accessories that people. Accessorizing is a big thing for girls right now. You sell to your colleagues. Your colleagues have somebody else. Like, I have a glasses business that I sell. My sister works in the bank, and then I sold something to her. She really liked it, and before I knew it, so many people from our office kept on ordering for stuff. So I know that I've mentioned a couple of things that I do right now. I feel like I'm a jack of all trade. For now, not necessarily a master of one, but I have my head in a couple of things. So what am I saying is that if you want to transition, like I was saying, you can start that business alongside what it is that you're doing at your office. And when you see that, okay, this is starting to gain ground, and it's making waves. Like, I saw a video of this parfait that is very common in Lekki. Is it Melanie Pine? I'm not sure if that's the name, but I saw how she talked about, she was a teacher, she was earning like 30K, and she started a fruit business from church, and it kept on growing and growing. And when she saw that she was making a whole lot of money than she ever made at a regular teaching job, she was then now able to quit a teaching job and then move into entrepreneurship, because it is very, very important that you do not make a mistake of just leaving your 9 to 5, because it's a constant income. And yes, that actually is a big advantage of working a 9 to 5. The fact that it's a constant income. Come what come way, you get paid at the end of the month. That's a constant means of income. If running businesses, on the other hand, you could make like bulk sales this week. And the next 3 weeks, you're just busy pumping money into adverts and just praying that, a customer comes and they're willing to buy what you're selling. So that's just, my 2 cents on that one. But in general, as a lady, it's always a beautiful thing to have your own. I feel like it even adds to like your, aside from it adding to your worth, it adds value to you as a lady, that you have that thing that you don't, people ask you, what do I do, or where do you work? I remember before I get admission into university, I had a very big, I was looking 20 something, and I was 14, 15, and I was looking so big. And then, most people thought, I was an adult. And when people ask me, like, are you in school yet? Or what do you do? Like, because of my big stature then, I was so concerned. And I saw my friends that had gotten into school at the time. I desperately wanted to get into school. And I remember when I did, oh my God, when you asked me that, are you a student? I was like, yes, I'm a student of clinical. I attend University of Ilorin, I'm a political science, faculty of this one. The way I will wrap it out for you, and like, it just, I was so proud. And we'll be like, oh, that's nice. That's really nice. Yes. My mom will just be somewhere nodding in the corner. So I just feel like, as a lady, I'm not saying that it's only ladies that should, have something doing. Men, of course, too, should have something doing. Everybody in general should have something doing. I'm just saying that it's always nice to have something that you can call your own. It's always nice, especially we ladies. They say it's a man's world. So if you do not want to be fall the victim of, that saying that it is a man's world, if you don't want to have to, get grinded by that saying, you want to own something that you do for yourself, that, when push comes to shove, there's something that you can fall back on, like, okay, this is what I do. I mean, things can be tough, I'm not saying that it's all a bed of roses. Being a girl in every part of the world, in any part of the world, being a girl child is a lot. It's a lot of expectation. It's a world where, it feels like men dominate a lot of industries and all that. And as a girl, you really have to put times 2 of maybe what a man is going to put in to get what you want. But regardless, let that not be like a discouraging factor as a lady, so that you do not get, muddled up in the sand, so that you do not get breathing upon, you do not get trampled over. Please understand that your self-worth matters a lot, and then the value that you place on yourself matters. And do not settle for crumbs. Own your own, and own it with pride, own it with everything inside of you. And for every one of us out there trying to put 1 and 2 together to make ourselves proud, first off, yes, because you want to make yourself proud before you can make any other person proud. To make ourselves proud as firstborn daughters, or lastborn, or second or third or fourth, as girls in general, to make ourselves proud, you need to put in work, and to make the people around you proud as well, and to be able to raise your head high and say, like, yes, I did that, I earned that. Yeah, so I hope I was able to, like, put some sense out there and make some sense out of this topic. And yeah, I really wish you all the best, as I wish myself as well. And I hope to see you in my next one. I'm so sorry for my husky voice. I am dealing with, I'm conquering malaria. I'm trying to, my throat is just being crazy. Been dealing with sore throat and everything, but I'm grateful. I just want to say thank you to all of my subscribers, and to everyone that, takes a time out of the day to listen to me say the things that I say. I can't wait to see you in my next one, and love you guys. Please subscribe, share, and yeah, like. Bye.